Damn it. Okay.
Is it working?
It's working. Go, go, go.
Okay, fine. I'm here with Okashi Studios, creator of Shira Oka Second Chance Ren-Ai game. And Andrew?
Okay, my name is Andrew. I'm the software engineer involved with the game. I'm also one of the co-founders. This is Colin.
Hi, I'm the other co-founder, and I'm also the community director for Okashi Studios.
Olivia
I'm Olivia. I write all the music for the game.
and Kate.
I'm Kate. I'm an intern here.
So tell us a little bit about Okashi Studio.
Well, Okashi Studios is a company that's based in Fremont, California, and we're working on an original Ren-Ai game that's going to be in English for English-speaking audiences.
Right. So one day we were looking around for video games, and when we stumbled upon Tokimeki Memorial, and Colleen and I really wanted to play this game, and it was all in Japanese. So I started pouring through websites, trying to look for English patches. We couldn't find them. We found like walkthroughs in English, but like it was not very fun. Like looking at a translation document while playing the game. So it's like, okay, this really sucks. What can we do? So we decided to build our own.
It's also all local talent. Local meaning like
Right.
North American.
That's really important to me also. The anime community has been, booming in the States, and one of the things we're finding is, I guess the new talent in art is really getting into anime. So you'll find that like the high school to college level right now, you look in the right places in the States, they actually draw what I consider, at least from the visual style, really top-notch anime style art. So we've been taking advantage of that and using all local U.S. talent to see if we can do it that way.
Many of the fans out there sometimes get confused about what is dating sim and graphic novel, not visual novel, I believe, was it? Yeah. So could you shortly describe the difference between visual novel and dating sim?
Okay, so a visual novel is more of a tree-based narrative where you're told a story, in prose form, with visuals, obviously, and you hit certain decision points where you get to influence the outcome of the story. I compare it to like the 80s kind of choose your own adventure books, the so-called second-person storybooks. A dating sim, in my mind, is a game that has some non-trivial amount of affection. I call it affection modeling. That's various statistics that get juggled in the background to kind of determine how well a person likes you and stuff like that. So it's not as scripted out as a visual novel. There's more of a free-form gameplay element to it, which is why we decided to go for a dating sim versus a visual novel, because in order for a game to do well commercially, we kind of have to meet US gamers halfway and kind of provide the gameplay that they expect, while at the same time, we have this Japanese influence dating sim. That makes sense?
It sure did to me.
All right.
Well, speaking of games, let's talk about your game, Shira Oka Second Chance. Tell us when did you start developing the game and about the progress that you guys took? Briefly, shortly.
Okay, well, we started in 2005, and we pretty much we built a team up from scratch to work on this game. We started by going to conventions and seeing what kind of art was out there and what artists were working on, and the styles of anime that people were interested in as well. And we started putting together some character concepts of the characters that you see in the game. And from there, we built up a storyline, and then we made up different. Each character has their own storyline and ending. So as you play the game multiple times, you get to learn about each different character's background and their story.
Each character doesn't exist in its own vacuum either. The endings involve everyone. So it's kind of like, I guess the way I would describe it, which I think is kind of what makes it neat, is like, say you watch Love Hina, and you kind of know, like, well, you watch it, and he ends up, Keitaro ends up with Naru. But what if you can, like, you know, do it again, but like instead end up with, say, like, who's that Loli that I like so much?
Forgot her name.
Oh,
Um,
who is it? Who is it?
Lolita?
Shinobu?
Shinobu?
Shinobu, yes.
The shy, cute girl?
So so if what was it, 26 episodes? If that whole thing involved in the culmination of with you and Shinobu, and in a dating sim, you kind of get to do that. You know, you don't have to settle for how the writers. Well, obviously you settle for how the writers do it, but you get to.
But you get to,
influence the ending.
yeah, influence the ending and interact with the characters.
So, you want to say something more? Or? Okay. So, what do you in your opinion, what do you think is the strength of Shira Oka that separates this game from other Ren-Ai games, if any?
I think we've tried to go a step beyond. So, for example, the character expression transitions animate. So that's one thing that most people don't do. Like just the various like facial reactions, like the eye blinks and the lip syncing, kind of add a level of immersion. I feel it's not as done in the Japanese versions, I guess.
And compared to the quote-unquote dating sims that are available in America today, we've put a lot more emphasis on developing the stories and the characters. So it's a much more immersive environment, and you get to really learn about each character versus in American games where it's more of there are more stereotypes of characters and less. The stories are less interesting. So.
Right. Also, the American-made ones, I think, since there's no, there's a little, I guess, financial backing for them. You have a limited amount of time to work on it. You typically have a limited staff. It's like you and maybe someone else if you're lucky. So you do something short, and you do something for like the immediate like laugh, like, and so a lot of them end up being kind of parodies of what we consider a real dating sim.
Yeah, so I think that alone sets us apart from the American games that are out there now. Is the theme, the tone of the game is different, and it matches the Japanese games more closely. And I think that was missing in American games.
Right, and one of our goals actually is, I mean, there's two goals. One is to be successful enough commercially in order to build the next game. That's what it's always all about. But the second objective is to create enough of a fan base for these kinds of games that bigger companies will consider localizing some of the existing Japanese titles.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we come to conventions and do our panels, is to try to broaden the audience and get more people excited about Ren-Ai games, not only our own, but all the games that are out there.
That's true. Like a lot of the online open source or amateur efforts are kind of just interested in building a game for their little community. We have to aim higher if we want to be commercially successful, because today there just isn't enough of a market out there for these kinds of games. So what we have to do is actively try to grow the market. So we've been doing that as far as we can by doing panels at conventions and stuff like that. Something seems to be working. I don't know if the market is changing or if it's us. It's probably a little bit of both.
I think.
But like when we do a poll of the audience this year, there were a lot more people that knew what we were about than last year. So that kind of shows, I guess, where.
And also more
something's
people
happening.
are just familiar with Ren-Ai games this year than previous years.
By far. I remember the first year we did our first convention panel. It was like, how many people are familiar with Ren-Ai games? It's like 2 shows of it. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And now it's like the whole room. It's like, okay, great.
So, when can we expect Shira Oka to be completed?
We technically can't commit on a release date until we have the final deal from the producer/publisher and it's them that will be announcing the release date. But as far as art development is concerned, we've shown through the panel we just did how far along we are into it. Is there anything you feel safe to mention?
Not really, but I guess we can say that we are talking to publishers right now and trying to work something out. So as soon as we do get a deal with them, then they'll give us some set deadlines that we have to work towards, and then we would then have a release date probably in mind.
Yeah, I guess one thing that gives us the advantage is that we're approaching publishers with a game that is very mature in its development process, as opposed to just a pitch document and a summary of how the game works, which is how often it happens. We've gone a bit farther than that.
Before we go, I would like to bring up the fact that you guys are recruiting the voice actors for this game, and I believe that that's one aspect that separates this game from a lot of other Ren-Ai games that I've come to know of to a certain degree. So, would you like to describe about the recruitment?
Okay, well, for the musical work, Olivia is in charge of the final cast decision on that. So we're targeting August to do the actual recording. And for the vocal work, like the dialogue and stuff like that, we're going to be contracting through an outside agency, so they'll be in charge of the casting. Well, we'll have input into the process, but they will be the ones who present people to us with samples and, hey, does this voice fit this character or whatever, and we kind of say, yeah, sure, or let's try somewhere else. So I guess the process is different for the two aspects. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for your time, and I hope your project goes really well.
Okay,
Again, the
thank you.
project name is the Shira Oka Second Chance.
Thank you very much.
What?
The bouncing sound.
You can't just put it in an option and turn it off.
The bouncing?